Good afternoon, I'm Sean Yao and this is One News Now. The Philippine Coast Guard confirms that the Mindoro oil spill has already reached the Verde Island Passage in Batangas City. The island is part of the world's Center for Marine Biodiversity. The PCG also said that the spillage could also spread to other areas like Calatagan, Lobo, and San Juan, all in the province of Batangas. Earlier, the UP Marine Science Institute projected that there will be more oil spreading, particularly in Mindoro, Oriental's capital of Calapan City, from March 20 to 22. This is due to the stronger wave currents in the northern coast of Mindoro. With this, marine experts are now calling on authorities to contain the oil spill before the end of the amihan to prevent more massive damage.
We're racing against time. Ayaw na natin na kumalat pa yung langis. Ayaw natin na pati yung mga lugar na malalayo doon ay eventually, maapektuhan. Kung kaya na within 4 months, o kaya na mas maaga pa, mas maganda. Importante rito, nag-i-step up tayo ng operations at ginagawa natin lahat ng pwedeng paraan para ma-stop yung oil spill.
And the first remotely operated vehicle, or ROV, from Japan has arrived at the port of Calapan in Oriental, Mindoro. The ROV will assess the location of the sunken empty Princess Empress and how much oil it is leaking. Another ROV, which is yet to arrive, is expected to stop the leakage of about 800,000 liters of industrial fuel from the ship. Meanwhile, U.S. Coast Guard officials are set to meet with their Filipino counterparts to discuss ways to mitigate the oil spill's effects on affected communities. The Philippine Coast Guard had earlier wrote to the U.S. Embassy to request for assistance in the cleanup. And as more oil winds up on Calapan's shores, residents are continuing to build improvised booms to contain the leakage. Mon Gualvez filed this report.
These small specks of oil dotted the sands along the shores of Barangay Navotas in Calapan City, Oriental, Mindoro. This happened more than 2 weeks after empty Princess Empress sank, causing an oil spill in the ocean off the town of Nauhan. Calapan City, Oriental Mindoro's capital, is 24 kilometers away from Nauhan and is located near the famed tourist destination Puerto Galera. It is also home to the island's largest and busiest port. To contain the spill, residents have resorted to spill booms that they've improvised. They're also gearing up to conduct strict monitoring as strong wind and waves could cause the oil to spill past the boom and be swept towards thousands of mangrove trees. If that happens, the oil spill would also affect the rivers of Nag-Iba 1 and 2, something residents pray would not happen. Even before the oil spill reached the area, fishing, eating seafood fish from the sea, swimming, and consuming water from the sea have already been prohibited.
Meron namang other alternative. May tilapia, may bangus, yung mga fresh water, no? So, pwedeng yun muna ang kanilang bilhin.
Because of the LGU's order, around 4,000 fishermen have been prohibited to set sail.
Bahala na po si Lord kung ano mangyayari sa amin. Huwag naman sana pong lumala ang oil spill din sa amin. Sana po ay mga ikaw para kami ay makapaghanap buhay din.
The government has already pledged food packs for affected residents.
Crisis na kami, wala na mahuli. Sapat tugod sa amin kakainin. Sa alimbawa, 3 taon, 2 taon, yung sapat nun sir ibibigay sa amin.
The sitio proper of Barangay Navotas also depend on wells and poso or water pumps for their potable water. Community leaders believe the government should already directly transfer cash to residents who will lose their livelihoods due to the oil spill. Congress is also set to push for the tanker's owner to pay affected residents for damages. For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
Time to pause for a quick break, but One News Now will be back with more stories after that. Stay with us. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. One of the supposed main players in the assassination of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo is now under custody. Let's get the details from Jenny Dongon, who's joining us now over the phone. Hi, Jenny. Who is this suspect?
Sean, Armed Forces Chief of Staff General Andres Centino said that the most recent suspect to surrender was a former soldier with the rank of sergeant. In a press briefing today, the AFP chief confirmed that the suspect turned himself into the military on Saturday. This former soldier was dismissed from the service in 2016 due to illegal drug charges. Authorities are withholding the identity of this particular suspect at the moment. But what Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla knows about him so far is that a suspect had direct involvement in the killing of Negros Oriental Roel Degamo and 8 others on March 4. The suspect has been turned over to the National Bureau of Investigation for further questioning. The other suspects under NBI's custody are Corporal Benji Rodriguez, former Sergeant Joven Javier, and former Sergeant Jolic Labrador. The DOJ earlier said that Negros Oriental 3rd District Congressman Arnie Teves may be included in the agency's lookout order, aside from being included in the Interpol's Blue Notice. This means authorities can locate him further or faster and monitor his movement wherever country the lawmaker is. Once Teves returns to the country, he will be placed under preliminary probe, but he will not be arrested. Sean.
Thank you for those updates. That was Jenny Dongon of News 5 over the phone. In other news, the camp of Percy Lapid, also known as Percy Mabasa, expects arrest warrants to be issued this week against former Corrections Chief Gerald Bantag and other suspects in the broadcaster's murder. Lawyers of the Mabasa family said that the Las Piñas Regional Trial Court will order the arrest today or in the coming days. Recall that state prosecutors have found probable cause to charge Bantag, his former deputy Ricardo Zulueta, and several others for the killing of Lapid and alleged middleman June Villamor. The Mabasa family believes that they have a solid case after 4 months of investigation into the double murder.
Inaasahan natin na sa susunod na ilang araw, mailabas na yung warrant of arrest laban sa mga akusado kasama na si General Bantag.
We are prepared for any eventuality, and because sabi ng mga abogado namin na map out naman namin ng mga plan, and every twist and turn na meron man mangyayari ay we can respond immediately.
Chinese President Xi Jinping is set to arrive in Moscow today, where he will be welcomed by his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. The two leaders will sit down in a one-on-one meeting after an informal lunch. Chinese media said that Putin is looking forward to Beijing's constructive role in solving the conflict with Ukraine, following China's call for a dialogue and settlement. Xi's state visit to China or to Russia comes after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant against Putin for alleged war crimes. Putin is suspected of the unlawful deportation of Ukrainian children and transfer of others to the Russian Federation. Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. And Marawi City and Lanao del Sur is set to have 2 new barangays. A majority of residents who cast their votes in a plebiscite on Saturday favor the creation of barangays Datu Dalidigan and Bonganga 2 or Boganga 2. There has been an increase in the population of villages in other areas of Marawi after hundreds relocated there due to the 2017 siege. Former U.S. President Donald Trump expects to be arrested anytime soon, but he did not say for what crime. Trump says that he expects to be indicted on Tuesday and asked supporters to protest it. The ex-American president is being accused of paying an adult film star over $130,000 to cover up an illicit affair. Trump is seeking Republican nomination so that he can run again in the 2024 U.S. presidential elections. Singapore's Changi Airport is still the world's best airport. That is according to the 2023 World Airport Awards, conducted by air transport research firm Skytrax. Philippine airports failed to make the top 100 list. One News Now will be back at 3 p.m. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.